shy of the 20. This is a young man that's been a couple of years at Arizona State as a running back, mostly on kickoffs and punt returns. Looks like we've got a flag down.
Ronald Delaney, the cornerback, he's a sophomore, Tim. I think he went down number 11.
No, it was a player down, not a flag down. And I believe it was Delancey.
Yeah, watch him
11.
coming there, number 11, with that head. And you know what? When you put it on that thigh, let me tell you, man, it leaves you a reminder of just how powerful those quads are. He's going to feel that one for a while. Let's hope he's okay. Yeah, he tried to get up for a minute, but he kind of...
Yeah, they quickly, you saw the trainer motion. It is the head. So they're going to be very careful with him, and he will go into concussion protocol immediately once he gets to the sidelines as Jason Candle makes his way over, and a nice response from the Scarlet and Gray faithful. C.J. Stroud. That's what he did against Arkansas State last week. And he has got so much more composure at this time this season versus last. And that's without all of the offensive artillery at his beck and call. Without Smith and Jigma last week. Without Julian Fleming a week ago. Travion Henderson will be his setback. And we'll be keeping an eye on a host of wide receivers that will be in the game during the course of the evening. Quick out to Emeka Egbuka. Egbuka, who brought a punt return back for a touchdown that was nullified by a roughing the kicker penalty, picks up 8 on first down. And there you see Jackson Smith and Jigba. He is out there on 2nd down and 2.
Pick your poison right now. They out of that twins formation now, just got 2 wide receiver, more of a spread type formation. But they'll go to all of their receivers. Doesn't matter where they line up.
Nothing doing for Henderson. I think he may be the best athlete on the field. Among all of that greatness, I think Travion is just the best athlete out there. That's a very skilled offensive front. Whippler is a very strong center, highly intelligent, and that's the embarrassment of riches. Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., who's really stepped up those so far this year, and Egbuka, along with Kate Stover, playing some tight end alongside Mitch Rossi. We'll also see some of G. Scott as the evening progresses. 3rd down and 2.
Their strength is their corners, and obviously on the offensive side, it's their tackles, Tim.
And a first down for Travion. 4-yard pickup as we take a look at this Toledo defense. A veteran group up front. They have played a lot of football. Culpepper, as Juan Johnson is a leader, and Terrence Taylor, the 3-down lineman. Linebacking core led by Gant, the Ohio State transfer, who comes in as a grad student. He had 41 snaps very early last season for Ohio State. And there's the secondary, very young. They lost a couple of players to the NFL draft a year ago. And that's Emeka Egbuka again. And Chris McDonald is there with him, but moved the chains, another first down.
Tim, that was an example of those next-level throws I was talking about. Again, they'll go from the far hash and make that cross-field throw. And then, let me tell you, you got to have a big arm to do it. You got to have confidence to do it. But the way Ryan Day designs his offensive scheme, he's going to make sure he's got one of those elite receivers matched up to one guy. And he likes them to win no matter who's matched up out there. He's brilliant at play design.
Little bubble screen, and it's taken by Marvin Harrison. I cannot believe I've got another young man whose father I actually called games for when he was at Syracuse. 7-yard pickup for Junior, and it's 2nd and 3.
Zachary Ford tried to get in at number 7, but Harrison Jr. was out there, did a wonderful job of getting in the position where he made it tough on the defender.
There goes Henderson again. He'll cut it back. Remember, a year ago, he set an all-time single-game rushing record as a freshman, and then broke even more records against Tulsa a year ago to the night, almost.
Watch him carry Deontay Johnson here, Tim. He does a wonderful job of putting him in his hip pocket and then getting upfield, running with great leverage and pad level. We haven't even talked about him as an impact. Let me tell you, once they get him going and those receivers, they're virtually indefensible.
You know, you think about it, Spencer, they got great running backs. You'll see Mayan Williams a little later. These guys are only toting it about 7, 8, maybe 10 times in the case of Travion Henderson. But you know what? When you've got that much talent and you want to share the ball in both the run and pass game, you're going to have to accept that. And the Buckeye players do. Play fake. Looping it down the sideline to Stover. Cade Stover, first and goal.
And Tim, that was the second play in a row where they went to number 7. I saw this same reoccurring theme in the Notre Dame game. Ryan Day went after number 5, the top defender for Notre Dame, and he's doing the same thing here for Toledo. Again, Zachary Ford, number 7, the safety, 6'3", 207 out of Cleveland, Ohio. They feel like they can pick on him a little bit, and they're going to try to work on him.
38-yard pickup and a first down. A textbook drive so far to open the game for Ohio State. Anderson.
Nice vision.
Henderson. Touchdown.
Tim, what a beautiful job, Donald.
They'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. Here's DeQuan Finn. This young man is responsible for about 3/4 of this team's offense. In addition to his arm, he's their leading rusher. He was the MAC Western Division Player of the Week after his performance last week. And when you think about a guy that can make decisions at the last second, he's your guy. He'll tuck it and run at the first opportunity. He will not mince words. When it's time to go, he goes. And he's got Micah Kelly as his setback on first down from the 25.
Nice.
Giving him an opportunity to throw a pass that's safe to Blankenship. That's Demir Blankenship. He's a favorite target, a gain of 7. It'll be 2nd and 3.
Jim, that's impressive. That's a big-time throw across the field, man. Now they're going pace and tempo, which is their way. We'll see if they go inside zone here. Yep. Nope, he's running it.
He did. Look at that.
Yeah.
In the open field, he's so dangerous. And, you know, the way they play defense under Jim Knowles, that's a gain of 18. You know, if you make a mistake with your gap integrity, he'll make you pay.
Here's the previous catch right here. Again, if he clings that in and just grabs it off his fingertips, turns his body, and they're going with him.
Plenty of time, and he lets it fly incomplete. Intended for Jawan Newton, sophomore from St. Petersburg.
Yeah, Finn's got to choke his motor a little bit. When you're rolling to your side and you get the opportunity to square your shoulders up, you've probably got about an extra 15 to 20% of power, man, particularly in the early part of a game. He's just got to dial that back. It's a big stage, but you know what? He's got a big enough arm to make that throw.
2nd down and 10 from midfield.
They're opening this up for him to run.
Big time.
Wow.
Looking long, and he's got his man.
Wow.
That's Cyrus. Thomas Cyrus. And a touchdown, Toledo. That rocket crowd in the end zone is loving it.
And Timmy, here's a twins formation for you. Call it a nod. And here you go. 84 delivers a Greek treat for you all the way to the house. Pinpoint right where it needed to be. Cue up the spanakopita, man. The Greeks are going after Maryland.
Lucky for the extra point. How about that answer? How about that answer, partner?
That's sweet. That's an answer, man.
Man.
She ain't scared, Tim.
I think we said he would make a decision and not look back. The Rockets are in flight, and we're tied at 7 after the...
Big time, and he showed us exactly what he can do. He came in, Tim, as the team's leading rusher at 138 yards. So Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, has got an answer. Got to have it himself.
A touchback. Now, these men can help you answer. Part of our Ram Power Player, brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. You hear it said many times, an embarrassment of riches.
Oh, man.
Travion Henderson, who I think is, if he touched it 25 to 30 times, he would set all kinds of rushing records. Jackson Smith and Jigba, the pride of Rockwall, Texas.
Yep.
A Friday Night Lights guy they're so very proud of. But this isn't a good sign as Travion is making his way to the locker room, it appears. Ryan Williams is in at running back. He had a fantastic late drive to help put away Notre Dame in week 1. And they go with the wide receiver pattern to Marvin Harrison. And Spencer, that was almost 6. It was Nate Bauer that came over to make the saving tackle after a 17-yard gain.
Well, you can see this little pivot route. He just keeps his eyes up and aware. It's a little 5-yard route, right? A looky route. Turns it upfield and makes a couple of guys miss, gets extra yards.
McDonald took a bad angle, and he shrugged him off without a problem. They go sweep to Williams. Ryan Williams past midfield and into Rockets territory at the 48, gain of 10 and a first down.
They love that formation. They'll run out of it. They'll pass out of it again. And they'll usually try to get the play in and maybe not go so fast on that particular setup. They're going to work their way down the field and see what the defensive setup is. And they're going to be patient about it. No need to go pace and tempo. Yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with your back, not knowing what his status is.
Jet sweep was a pass, so it counts for Stroud. I mean, 6 out of 6. Williams one more time. Burrows ahead to the 46-yard line, a gain of 2. Second down and 8.
Williams was a little bit different, but he's got some size on him. He's about 225, redshirt sophomore. I like his game, but you know when you got Trayvon Henderson in there, man, this guy is a redshirt freshman as well, but he's about 214, a lot faster, a lot more twitchy and athletic. It is a bit of a difference, and I've got to believe he's not their first option. The throw game going to be featured.
Deontay Johnson helped make that stop. He's an outstanding defensive end.
Yes, got him.
There it is, post pattern, and it is caught. Inside the 15 to the 10, Cade Stover targeted for a second time. And for the second consecutive time, he's into the red zone.
You've been doing your homework because we've been talking about those post routes. That was a skinny post. You nailed it. Yep. He didn't bend it very hard. He stayed vertical, and that's what made it work. You see how he's just kind of bending slightly so? And when you got a safeties hovering around there, man, you don't want to start bending that to the middle of the field. Fortunately, it was a too-deep look, and the middle of the field was wide open. Wide seam, go routes, vertical, all of that's going to be open when you see those two safeties back there, and they're going to attack it.
Well, you talk about accurate. You couldn't hand the ball any better to a receiver than that. Out of the gun, Williams. And this is where he did damage. Again, we talked a little bit about that last drive, a gain of 4 there against Notre Dame. They had Williams in the game, and he carried the mail, and Ohio State was not in a hurry. This team now will slow down quite a bit, use some clock, and try to salt the game away. I mean, I think the fans are still having to get used to some of that.
Yep.
A lot of these teams that are explosive now are playing complementary football a bit more in 2022.
No question about it.
CJ loads up again, and it is in the corner.
That's a
touchdown to Marvin Harrison. This is some catch. You noticed I paused ever so slightly to give him the touch because the officials did, but look at that.
Tim, they love to isolate their receivers on the outside, right?
Oh.
And Quinyon Mitchell tried to defend him, Tim, but he was just not in a position to do it. You cannot defend a guy who's got that kind of range, and the ball, as you pointed out, the accuracy is just spot on point. Taking their time, mixing the run and the pass. This is the new look, Ryan Day, for 2022.
Ruggles for the extra point. 75 yards, just 6 plays. Cade Stover again with the pass play to set up the touchdown. Stover with a couple of catches for 72 yards. What a fast start we've had so far, partner, by both teams.
Not shocked at all. Again, on the ground, they were effective. And this guy right here, Trayvon, we knew, although he limped off, he would be a factor in this game. And then, of course, the answer. And then I love the way this team fought back. He showed some of the excitement for special teams, and then the tight end got in play. He's throwing is C.J. Stroud across the field. He's using the run game. He's getting players isolated in space. That was the reoccurring theme you saw against Notre Dame. They want to get the best matchup, which in this group of 3, any one of them can beat you.
Now can Jim Knowles and this Buckeyes defense handle number 7, DeQuan Finn, after a pretty outstanding start for him. The handoff is to Micah Kelly, and he's stopped. And there's a look at Coach Knowles, and he told us, and it's true with this defense, Spencer, you're going to give up explosives, but if you only give up 5 explosive plays, you're going to win.
Well, I think if Ronnie Hickman, number 14, the free safety, continues to do what he just then, I think Ryan Day is going to have to make some decisions on the offensive side of the ball. If they can match and score here, this is going to change the pace and tempo. It's actually going to slow down even more. Trips formation inside. Let's see what this does. Nice job.
Nothing doing again for Kelly.
Yeah, that's still Chambers.
Yeah, this is a kid that was a running back, converted to the linebacker position, has really come on strong. One of the most improved players at his position, says Jim Knowles, on his defense.
Had a couple of big plays. Watch him in an extended position outside with that wide technique, and he's zeroing in. He's unblocked him, and he's got his assignment is clear. Go to the ball.
And here's the thing that Knowles does, right? He gets you tackles for losses and behind the chains.
How about this? A 4-cross looker. He's playing safe. He still got rushed.
Yeah, 3rd and 15. He just has to let it go. He was outside the tackle box. No flag. It was Zach Harrison that was in hot pursuit. He had a couple of strip sacks a year ago, which resulted in touchdowns against Minnesota and Penn State.
What a beautiful decision by Knowles. He came out what we call a 4-cross concept all the way across. Those guys were lined up, and it confused him. He didn't know exactly what to do. There was no safety to give him a lead on where to go with the football. Excellent strategy by Jim Knowles.
Jonathan Batsky will punt it away, and the left footer gets off a beautiful punt. Here's Abuka. As I said, he had one to the house last week that was called back because of a roughing the kicker. This time he stopped at the 41-yard line, and a late flag comes down after the play was complete. And here are the outstanding C.J. Stroud receivers, including Jackson Smith and Jigba now. They lost Olave and Garrett Wilson, picked in the first round a season ago by the Jets and the Saints. And through the years, they've just had so many.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. 20 for Toledo, 4 for Ohio State. The penalty portion offsets, be first down.
I don't know if that was Andre Fuller or not on that play, Timmy, but
yeah. Look at that. Players on NFL rosters. Alabama with the most, Ohio State and LSU tied with 52. 7 wide receivers, by the way, the most in the National Football League. And the Saints traded up 7 spots to get Olave. They were picking in the 19th position. They have an affinity for Ohio State players. Thomas, of course, also a former Buckeye.
this is a running look right here. They're going to get out of it, Tim, to try to see if they can take advantage. It's a single high safety look. So what does that mean? That means that C.J. Stroud is looking at where the numbers are. Where can I run this ball? For me, I'm looking at the top or the bottom, down here low, inside, right there.
Mayan Williams.
There you go.
I mean, they just make it look so easy. Their business approach to the game. That's a gain of 14. And this kid out of Cincinnati, Ohio, in 21, he had 71 carries for 508 yards. He's great running the wheel route, too. Had 9 receptions a season ago.
Another check at the line. Check with me. Vince Carr is the defensive coordinator for the Rockets. He's coming out in this 2-shell look. And again, I told you last series that we're going to slow the game down so they can read and react.
Plenty of time. C.J. loads up again into traffic. It's caught. It's Harrison. It's touchdown. Are they going to rule him out? They're going to say he stepped out at the 3. Boy, I thought he leaped through, but he may have stepped out as he was launching himself. A 42-yard pickup, and he's down at the 3.
Well, Troy Simon, the safety, man, from Alpharetta, Georgia, comes up.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's
right there. The left foot. The left foot.
But that's not even possible, Tim, if Troy Simon doesn't misread this ball and come from his safety spot. He anticipated a little bit too early. Beautiful pass, Tim, but it should have been intercepted. And that's the difficult truth. I mean, take nothing away.
Yeah, he jumped too early.
Yeah, but you should have seen just prior to that, he comes to the point and he runs right past the ball.
From the 3, Williams met at the point of attack. May have lost a half yard. Well, 42 2 yards on that last gain. Stroud is now 9 out of 9 for 174.
So here's the ball delivered here, Tim. Watch the safety.
Oh.
He drove from that high safety position and came underneath it. Just mistimed it. Ford was in his hip pocket like he has been all night long, but that's an excellent play. Any one of these three receivers are home run hitters.
Maxon Hook saved the touchdown by getting enough of his body to get him out of bounds.
Wide open.
Wide open and missed him. That is the first one that he's not thrown accurately, just beyond the outstretched arms of a wide open Cade Stover.
Sometimes you just got to rein yourself in a little bit when you identify that the guy is uncovered. Just slow down. Make sure you square up your shoulders and deliver that ball. And it was taken off like a plane, and that nose was up a little bit. Just should have lofted it over the top.
3rd and goal from the 3. Williams the lone setback. Everyone in tight. They go 2.
That's a great defensive play.
And a great defensive play. Buka is in though. I thought they got him out. And Buka does get in right in front of the pylon.
Maxon Hook was there at 25 to save. There's a down rocket on the field.
Yeah.
They played about as well as you could defensively, Tim. But when you got better athletes, sometimes inches are what matters. Watch the corners on the edges here. Chris McDonald, 13's in there. He gets driven back.
Oh, yeah. Touchdown. Got the pylon.
Maxim Hook is there just a little bit too late.
Yep. It's Jamal Hines that's down for Toledo, number 91. 3rd touchdown this year for Buka. We spoke with him yesterday.
Again, you make decisions because I think at that point, because of the decisions that were made with respect to who we were able to speak to and not, I think it was clear that there were going to be changes, and that was early in the year. So,
well, this, by the way, came after the Oregon debacle for the fans, the many hundreds of thousands of fans that they have here. Ohio State averaging 11.4 yards per play. Penny Boone is checked into the game in the backfield now. Former high school teammate King in Detroit, transferred over from Maryland.
He's a big guy, man, a big load.
Yeah, you know, Micah Kelly had carried it twice for -5 yards, so they go with more of a power back. He's like 240 pounds with a low center of gravity. He does get ahead for 2.
And even though they're lining up without the huddle, I think they're going to try to take their time and get in the right play.
They fake to Boone, and the option to run for this guy is always good.
Yep.
Always good. He gets right to the sticks and is out of bounds. I think they're going to mark him about a yard shy, about a half-yard shy of the first down. So 3rd and 1 coming up.
Now, see, this is where a Jim Knowles defense really helps you because they're so active and they can give you false or faux looks outside. Guys standing up that'll eventually put their hand down. Little slight adjustments along the line of scrimmage. There you go. See that? 35.
Nothing doing. Nothing doing. Eichenberg came right up and met him in the chest.
And, Tim, what made that play was the slight, subtle movement just pre-snap. That made the difference. And in at that Mike position, Tommy Eichenberg, number 35, watch him slide just a little bit. He's standing right there, reacting against a shaded nose who eats up space in the middle of that. And I look at it, you know, Teron Vincent, the nose tackle, eats up 2 blockers, allowing for Eichenberg to get in there and make a play.
Well, not allowing Finn to get outside surprised me a little bit on that 3rd down and 1 call. Buka awaits the punt and goes out of bounds with it after a 37-yard boot. Ohio State will have it at their own 29. Check out Ram Truck's Power Player on college football on Fox social platforms to see who's dominating on the field.
Tim, I got to go back to what we just talked about and what we just witnessed. If you are a fan of this offense and this defense, you are happy that Jim Knowles can play a 3rd down in what we call a run conflict scenario. That's 3rd and short, 3rd and 2nd, 3rd and 3. Those are easy downs for most offense, particularly high-powered offense. But his system, Jim Knowles' defense, shuts those down at a higher rate than anybody in the nation last year. That's the difference, and he creates more offensive opportunities for Ryan Day on the other side.
Ryan Williams set far behind his quarterback. A pistol look. And then across the middle it is caught. That's Smith and Jigba.
I'll tell you, there are 3 defenders around the ball here, man. He just placed that right between that shell coverage. I mean, he's got big-time arm and vision and countenance. Everybody to a man, including the coaches. Kevin Wilson, offensive coordinator. Ryan Day, the offensive mastermind behind all this, said that he is a better leader, and his countenance shows it.
The 10 completions are averaging 19.5 yards. So these are routes that are right down the seam and down the sideline. And here goes Williams. And he's ushering himself out at the 31. A gain of 20. Nate Bauer, number 6, ushered him out.
That looks like a Kevin Wilson kind of play right there. I know it's Ryan's offensive scheme, but, you know, when they come down in that tight bunch, you don't do it. We used to call his receivers pencil necks back in the day because we knew they didn't want to block. But when you see these big, long, physical receivers come down like that, Ohio State's not afraid to run the ball in that formation. That tells you something about the character and physicalness of the receivers.
5 carries for 39 now for Williams. Making 6 carries.
Wow.
For about 49 now. He's hammered at the sideline by McDonald. This is just a juggernaut, an offensive machine that Ohio State possesses. And with that front line, Spencer, guys like Donovan Jackson, Paris Johnson, Jones and DeJuan Jones, Matthew and DeJuan. I mean, they are just knocking people off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Michael McDonald got the worst end of this, Tim.
Yeah.
You see, he goes back on that one.
I know you love the Doobies, but it's Chris.
I had that on my mind, didn't I?
Spencer didn't think the Doobies had hits until Michael McDonald joined the band. Timeout by Toledo. We'll keep it here. Buckeyes leading 21-7, and Big Noon may be the second best receiving corps in the league. The Big Noon kickoff pregame will be live from the Big House at 10 Eastern, and it's Maryland and Michigan next Saturday at noon Eastern on Fox. And while we're at it, I had the occasion earlier today to text our partner Gus Johnson, who did not fulfill his play-by-play duties in the second half in Lincoln. He told me he's okay. Just was a little too sick to go, and just a tremendous performance by Joel Klatt moving into the play-by-play chair. Urban Meyer got up there to help out Brady Quinn.
Yep, Brady came up, showing the yeoman's work.
The versatility in their talents. C.J. Stroud lets it fly again to the sideline, and that's another tremendous catch by Stover.
Chris McDonald was again in coverage, Tim, and they're working on him. You know, when they find somebody that they can have success again, they keep coming back. Excellent job of Stroud extending this play out here and avoiding Deshaun Johnson, the defensive tackle who was out in front of him, number 1. That's just great athleticism, man. All day to throw, protection. Walper, Matthew Jones, DeJuan Jones, Donovan Jackson, Paris, all of them doing excellent work to protect their quarterback.
This is a good front 7 for Toledo, but they're not nearly as deep as Ohio State.
Pressure cat blitz, so you got to be careful.
There goes Williams against it, and he's got it down to the 5-yard line. Stopped by Judge Culpepper, the man that whose father played for the Florida Gators, played for Steve Spurrier between 1988 and 91, went on to a tremendous pro career. His mom and dad are here tonight.
Yep. Veterans of the Survivor Series, the television show.
Monica, the wife, was also a great athlete.
Yep. Let's see if they can survive this threat here at the 5. Well, survivor mode right now, to be sure.
2nd and goal. Play fake to the corner. It's incomplete.
That's beautiful, man.
Smith and Jigba was the intended receiver. Give Maxon Hook some credit on the recovery right there to get in the way of that pass, or it's another 6.
And there's a recurring theme. Again, nice splits inside, and you can see these is typically a switch route, right? It's a delay. He goes up, and then he looks. He sighted the ball. And to your point, Tim, you talk about Maxon Hook. Does a wonderful job of turning his head around. He was not in danger of getting a play called on him at all. I think he had nice cushion between him and the receiver. But excellent defensive play there by Hooks.
Keep an eye on Stover down here. The tight end flank to the bottom of your screen, now in motion. On 3rd and goal.
He got him right over.
Stroud using his legs, keeps the play alive, and it's going to be incomplete. That ball was being, are they saying touchdown? I thought the ball was moving there, but they're saying touchdown to Julian Fleming. They may need to take a look at that one. We'll see.
Well, one thing about it, the accuracy of C.J. Stroud, I talked about at the top of the show, this is 2.0 right here. He's going to his right, and look at that. He's got control, Tim.
That's a great catch.
He's got that left foot down.
I thought the ball moved, but just the tip of the ball was high.
He's holding like a snow cone off the top, but you know what? I think he's got control of that.
Yes, he does. That's a great call. Or great no call by the officials. I just thought that ball was moving. It was not. That was a beautiful cradle by Fleming, another guy that's been out and returned to the lineup tonight. Fleming's first catch of the year, and it's a touchdown. And it was a thing of beauty.
It really was, Tim. And there's a reason why this quarterback has thrown for over 4,500 yards, 44 touchdowns last year. It's the deft delivery that you just saw right there. And I'm telling you, when you combine that with elite athletic ability, Tim, smart quarterback, makes quality decisions, great play design, it really becomes virtually impossible to totally defend what they're able to do.
I think Ryan Day has gotten exactly what he told us he wanted.
Yep.
Start fast, get ahead by 2 or 3 scores, and then force your opponent to get out of what they wanted to do from a strategic standpoint. He's gotten all of that accomplished in this first quarter.
That's the only way you know you're making progress. What are we able to do now that we weren't able to do before? And again, we alluded to that comparable game last year against Tulsa. Well, it was, what, 14-7 going into the fourth quarter? Now, they distanced themselves late.
Yeah, it was a 6-point game with 10:25 left. Well, Ohio State has 287 yards total in the first quarter. And I'm going to suggest that Coach Candle allow his quarterback
to run
a little more and maybe have some run-pass option in this next series. Otherwise, they're going to be punting again, and that defense needs a breather. I mean, they're on pace right now, Ohio State, for 1,150 yards if this keeps up.
That means he's got a candle problem.
Well, we may get into that later, or maybe sooner than we thought. They go to the wide receiver screen, and Newton is ahead to the 26, maybe the 27-yard line, a gain of about 2. And when we come back, they'll have a 2nd down and 8 situation. And that defense really does need this quarter to come to an end, to have a little time to get some oxygen. Because they have not rolled him out since the opening series.
Well, it's tough because they're pinching on him from the rush.
Yep.
They're coming at him at a 45-degree angle, but he's elusive.
I mean, he's your offense. You got to allow that guy to get extra time either to throw it by rolling him out or maybe have a moment to get a little window right there, and he did. And look what he did with it.
They're inviting him to run. You see those huge gaps in there? You got 2 guys at guard and center that are dealing with the nose tackle. Those huge gaps, they're saying, look, we'll let you go in the middle. You're just not going to beat us on the outside.
Oh, that's a beautiful pass. He slung it late, too, to Devin Maddox, number 8. That's the junior out of Cleveland. A real go-to receiver. Missed the opener with a hamstring. He was the team's leading receiver and punt returner a season ago. Penny Boone remains in the backfield. This is a huge series to open the second quarter.
Here comes the safety blitz.
And they go a little bubble screen out to Maddox. And he's ahead to the 40, maybe the 39-yard line of Ohio State. Here's that previous pass we were talking about.
He doesn't have an option to go to. And again, Tim, I'm telling you, it's because of that 3-down look, and then you got the extra bodies on the back end. He's trying to sort it out, and it's very difficult because of the late movement to the coverage.
You know, that looked a little like Mahomes. That was a little sidearm action from him.
Still showing him a single high safety look, but you got 3 defenders on the same level. He still doesn't know what it is. All it takes is 5 steps for that safety to come down and create a 4 cross. Inviting him to run the ball here.
Out pattern. And is broken up. Zyros, who had the touchdown catch, the intended receiver, and he was undercut by the Buckeyes, Cameron Brown.
Well, we've seen Jim Knowles do miracles with less talent. That's not a comment or commentary on Oklahoma State and what they have. But let me tell you, the back-end defenders here are elite level, and they've got them on both sides, Tim. We may not know as much about them, but you're not going to beat this scheme trying to throw those cross-field routes like that against this coverage unit.
Gotta believe it's 4-down territory here. 3rd and 5.
It's tough to run against this.
In trouble. Gets away from it. Ad-libbing now as best he can, and he just dumps it. Gets out of there.
Yeah, man.
And that was a heavy pursuit on the backside from Tommy Eichenberg.
So much confidence in this Jim Knowles defense. He says been playing kind of a zone-type look, playing a heavy dose of man, but now he says, let's work inside and see if we can control these guys in these inside gaps to discourage the run. Wonderful job. Arm over and rip through to create immediate pressure on the quarterback. And that's Ty Hamilton. Does a wonderful job of getting in there and creating immediate pressure.
It was Hamilton early, and it was Eichenberg late, and it is 4-down territory. 4th and 5. Over the middle, and it's caught. First down inside the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Great patience, understanding pressures coming your way.
That's Blankenship.
Yep. Took the running lanes away from him and said, you're going to have to throw the ball to beat us. And if you do run it, you're going to release into a 4 or 5-man front with guys immediately around the scrimmage. Wonderful job of blocking inside. That was Lavelle Dumont, redshirt junior in there blocking. Former backup stepping up because of injuries.
Yeah, they moved him into guard. Rossi has moved over to tackle with Carter Foudy out. And there's Penny Boone. Penny Boone gets it down to the 23-yard line. That's J.K. Johnson, number 4, with a stop. Gain of 4.
Yeah, the Will linebacker, Cody Simon, had him in his gun right first. But this is what Penny does. He's big. See, right? You can't run through that guy. You can't just Australian rules tackle this one. He's a different breed, man. He's got those big old thighs on him, and he's got balance. He's low. You got to go wrap him up.
And he's just a sophomore.
He's just a sophomore.
Oh, God. 2nd and 6. Micah Kelly checks back in.
Interesting formation.
Right up the gut. Nothing doing for Kelly. He has 3 carries for -4 yards. I think he may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. And it's 3rd down and 6. Just not much there when Eichenberg has you in his sights.
I think Kelly misread that, man. He had an off guard, the right guard, Lavelle Dumont, that was pulling. And sometimes you have to read that and it will bend back. It's kind of like an ISO play, but sometimes you have to read where that guard is going. They're not pulling him so that you get hit. They're pulling him that you can follow him. And the back has got to have instincts. Missed it on that play.
First time we've seen trips to the right.
You got to handle the pressure on the left side. The tackle's going to open up. He patted his rear end. That lets him know he's got protection. You got to move away from that. There you go. Good job.
Finn, look at him go. Daquan
Stroud, 2.0, baby.
Yeah, he's accurate, but his receivers are just so good.
They're erasers, all of them. If you're off any bit because of their physical and athletic talent, the margin of error is much wider than it would be with any other quarterback.
Only bad news for Ohio State tonight is they lost Travion Henderson.
Yep.
After an opening series. He's been in the locker room. We're working to find out his status for the rest of the evening. That's Smith and Jigba on the receiving end. To give you some idea of how the top 25 has dominated today, Spencer, after that touchdown by Finn, this is the closest game that any team in the top 25 has dealt with other than Wake Forest. And they're tied with Liberty in the 4th quarter right now. Other than that, it's been blowout city.
Well, they got a wake-up call from the Sun Belt last week.
They sure did.
That was it.
They sure did. Williams remains the setback.
Tight bunch formation.
And they've got a convoy now in front of Emeka Egbuka. There he goes. That was just a perfectly planned wide receiver screen, and he had a convoy in front of him.
Egbuka could have actually waited a little bit. I mean, sometimes, look, the guy's made a great play, right? But if 34 is out there blocking for him, just wait on him a little bit. Yeah. 18's got inside leverage. You can split both those guys and use your speed on the back end. Sometimes You get a little bit too antsy.
You wanted Mitch Rossi, the tight end, to deke him a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Pause for a second.
Yeah, Mitch can run a little bit.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Yeah, look at the side. Get out the space here, Blum.
Yeah.
Greg Blum is our referee.
The ruling of a catch and out of bounds is under further review.
I think they're going to say he may have stepped out a little earlier here. Let's see.
Well, Chris was chasing him, but I don't think that. Yeah,
Right
he went
there.
out.
Yeah, he
wait a
went
minute.
out.
You know what? Listen, look at this hill. Is his hill? There. That's the step right there. That one right there, he was out. But that first one, that's the one. That one, I don't think he's out. I really don't. I think his heel is up in the air.
Yeah.
I think his heel is up in the air. I think he's out here.
Well,
this is when he's out.
Exactly. But one way or the other, it's going to come back a bit. 14 of 16 for 251.
And I guarantee you when they're in the meetings, Tim, they're going to say, you know what, if you just slow down and just wait a little bit for your big tight end / Y out there, Mitch Rossi, maybe you don't even have to worry about trying to speed past the guy and then risk being out of bounds. All about patience in those situations.
Well, you know that Vince Karras, the defensive coordinator, who, by the way, is from the Karras family of championships at Mount Union.
Great legacy.
Yeah, his father, of course, won 11 national titles there. Vince won 2 in his years as a head coach, but he just wants to get his team off the field on third down somehow.
After review, the ruling of a catch and out of bounds stands. First down.
7 explosive plays for Ohio State of 20-plus yards, says our content coordinator, Scott Alexander, tonight.
Well, they're coming in bunches, and that's exactly what Ryan Day wants, Tim.
First down and 10. Williams remains the setback.
They better get set on this little trail technique. There you go. It's a tough formation, tight bunch.
Williams. Negligible gain that time as Maxon Hook came up from safety to pop him. Brian Hartline, the receivers coach, is still at it. What a great player he was, and now a tremendous coach. And Kevin Wilson was telling us when we spoke, as well as Ryan Day, says, yeah, you know, look, sometimes we need to be reminded who needs a touch.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian is quick to let him know.
That's the transactional era that we're in right now in college football.
Second down and 8. And here's Stroud with
release.
plenty
There
of
you go.
time.
Release.
He's going to go. Stumbles down. I think the turf monster got him at the 28-yard line, a gain of 5. It's third down and about 2, maybe 3.
You never want to put your quarterback at excessive risk, but when they cover you up pretty nicely, man, take what they're giving you. Release away from it. The beautiful thing about Ryan Day's play design, he has what we call a levels concept a lot of times, and the receivers are moving away from the coverage. That means there will always be a side of the field that's unpopulated. That's where you want your quarterback to escape to.
Out of the shotgun, it's Williams.
Great read.
Big hole. And you're right, he made an outstanding read to cut it back, and he gets down to the 60. Williams cutting it back. Yards after contact, solid again, and Dallas Gant, the last to get to him.
Devon Jackson, left guard, doing another excellent job. He's been playing good football tonight, Tim. All 6'4", 300 pounds of him. Ushering his back for plus yardage.
9 yards, and it's 2nd and 1. Well, the playbook is wide open
It
for
really
Stroud
is.
now, isn't it?
And with this off corner, I wouldn't be shocked if they threw it wide. Yep, back right open.
There it is.
Yeah,
Back
two
in the
choices.
end zone. Harrison, touchdown. For some of you young folks that think when I mention his father and calling his games, you think I'm talking about when he was catching him from Manning. You know, I'm talking about when he was in college, too, at Syracuse.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing about it. What a wonderful control, feet down. But Mayan Williams, number 3, the running back, was wide open. The Rockets had an answer for neither one of them. But look at the ball. Nice air underneath it. Everybody got preoccupied with underneath.
cerebral, Spencer. He is a
slip out
route
of there?
runner. He's a route runner very much like his father.
Yep.
And it just has a cerebral approach to the game.
I just think it's a comfort level. I mean, it is a mind, but the design of the play helps him get open.
He was catching him in college from McNabb, his dad, before he went to the pros and became a Hall of Famer with Peyton Manning. That's the 5th turn. Just a beautiful setting here. And what a performance by Marvin Harrison in 22 in just 3 games. Look at that, coupled with the 7 games he played in a year ago. You know, he had the 3 touchdown catches in the Rose Bowl when they came from behind 2 scores to beat Utah, and became only the 2nd Buckeye player to have a pair of 3 touchdown receiving games in his career. Joey Galloway had multiple touchdown games in 93 and 94. That is big-time company to be in when we mention Joey Galloway. Let's get to know Jim Knowles. We've been touching on the Ohio State defensive coordinator. He was at Duke, by the way, a Cornell graduate. Very smart fellow. Oklahoma State defensive coordinator from 18 to 21. Totally changed Gundy's team. They became a defensive-first, ball-control football team and got within inches of playing in the college football playoff. As a result, lost that game to Baylor. His first season as Ohio State's defensive coordinator, and said, look, when we were at Ohio State and Coach Gundy knew it was going to take 2 or 3 years, but here he knew right away when Ryan Day gave him a call, you got to win every game here. There are no opportunities to lose without blowback.
As they call a timeout, his magic elixir, Tim, is his approach to the game. He sees no distinction between coaching and teaching. That's what separates him in this transactional age. I really love this guy because, number one, as Coach Day was quick to point out, he will get and raise his voice when he needs to do it. But he understands this transactional age that we're in. You got to talk to these guys in a way that they are receptive to.
They
and he does it in a
why.
fun way.
They want to know why.
Yep,
now,
absolutely.
When you ask them to do something, you need to incorporate the why into the details of explaining what it is that you want. You know, Jim and Ryan Day, and even when Ryan was talking to us about the decision to bring him in, he said, I interviewed 7 different guys for this job. And Gene Smith, one of the great athletic directors in all of college football and college athletics, period, you know, he said, look, you got to make sure that if you're going to get a great defensive coach, you need to have that guy have autonomy to run that side of the football. And that's what he's doing. That's Kel Barkley on the receiving end, number 14. Last year, Ryan was spending so much time trying to determine where he was going to put his assistant coaches, whether they're going to be up or down for a given game.
Well, he was looking for solutions at that time.
That's right.
Last year was really tough, but with this guy right here, he's a blanket as far as defensive schemes are concerned.
Stewart. Marquez Stewart stopped by Eichenberg again. He's always going to be leading the Buckeyes in tackles. You touched on it, Spencer. They've got great pluggers up front with Hall and Vincent. And Tui Owl, 44, the defensive ends. And occasionally you'll see Baptiste, and Tyler Friday is now available 54. But this is a defense set up for linebackers to run and chase and make plays.
That's right. And run fits are so important because the margin for mistakes are virtually nil because everybody has to fit and replace quickly and play with integrity.
That's what you want to see more of. Still, he's in trouble. But look at that ad-lib. Look at that ad-lib. I mean, this young man, if you start Spencer by rolling him out, you give him more options. And Finn knew what to do with it there. That's about a 20-yard scamper for a 5-yard gain.
Tui Moaloa had him dead to rights, Tim. I thought he was going to get him. 44 saw him and just said, whoop, nope. Made him turn the corner. He gets upfield, does Finn, and extends plays. Man, there's really no defense for that right there. He's a special player. 3rd down and 3. Finn's carried it 5 times for 67 yards.
Wouldn't be surprised if he called his own number here. Slant, incomplete. Should have been caught. Jerquan Newton was the intended receiver.
Yeah, Denzel Bird was right there with that left hand, though, Tim. He was on him, covering him like a blanket over at the corner. Number 5, the cornerback, man. Watch him put that left arm over the shoulder. Press coverage off the line. Boop. I'm going to try to let you go inside. Quick slant. Not today.
Good call.
Great,
You're right.
deft job with that left hand in there. Getting it right between the ball and the defender. Excellent defense.
Denzel out of Scottsdale, Arizona in his sophomore season. Abuka is back deep, awaiting the punt from Batsky. Fair catch on first down, and they'll be joined. Mike Hill will be joined as always by Coach Peterson. Chris Peterson, who I think has done a wonderful job this year, and probably an uncomfortable conversation from Acho.
Nice play.
About what's happened to the Toledo defense here in the first half. All that coming up. 2nd and a yard to go. Hayden stopped at the 29. Another first down. Macon Hook, who has been all over the place at strong safety with the stop. Another 9-yard gain. And Travion Henderson has made his way back to the field.
Good to see him on the sideline after walking off gingerly. And it didn't look too promising earlier. It didn't look like it was a terrible injury, but it looked like something obviously that was affecting him.
4 carries for 19 yards and a touchdown for him. A little curl pattern taken in by Julian Fleming. Already has a touchdown catch. His first catch of the year right in front of Andre Fuller, number 20, in a 7-yard gain.
Yeah, the redshirt freshman transfer defending, drawing a tough assignment was Andre Fuller on that play. It's another one of those cross-field throws, man, that they're not afraid to throw here.
Second down, 3.
4 by 1, Tim. 4 verts.
And Stroud, who normally does not use his legs, does here. And gets it to the 40-yard line. Stopped by Bauer. Gain of 4, and they'll move the sticks.
What they tried to do was clear it out. He saw that single safety, thinking maybe I can beat one. And that's his job. You know, a lot of times, like the old option game, does a wonderful job of making one guy commit, getting away from him, and just making a great decision. I think it was a wonderful call on his part.
He's feeling it now, but yes, he did get the first down.
Yeah, he made Jamal Hines miss, and he tried to change directions on him and couldn't.
Plenty of time in the pocket. That's been the issue all night. And there is Harrison again. Another first down for Marvin Jr.
Paris Johnson just brilliant on the backside. That left tackle protecting the blind side of his quarterback. Number 77. Well, he's been strong all night.
This kid set all kinds of records at Philadelphia Catholic. And then, of course, doing the job both in the Rose Bowl and that tremendous second half for Ohio State. I think in a lot of ways it set them up for the kind of start to this season that they really wanted to have. That Utah team played as well as they could have. Would have been the biggest win probably in school history, and that would even include the undefeated season that Urban had at Utah. That was going to be something else for them, but Ohio State just denied them. Here goes Hayden again.
Flying around a little bit, Timmy.
Inside the 30, down to the 28 on the stretch play. Jamal Hines with the tackle, number 91. This is a guy that has led his team in tackles for losses, second in the MAC with sacks. Just keeps getting better. Was third team All-MAC a season ago. It's just tough sledding tonight with all those new offensive linemen coming in, and you're coming back out there time after time, spending a lot of time on the field. Can't get off the field on third down. On first down, here's Hayden again. Wow. I mean, it's
Luke Weipler, the center, Tim, number 53, does an excellent job of stretching this play out and releasing so as to not to draw the holding penalty, allowing the back to go past him. Dylan Hayden does a wonderful job of sifting to it. But watch 53 reach up here. You see him, boom, he's in a tandem block. You got 55 helping him with it. That's Matthew Jones. That tandem block here, tagging and then releasing and working up to that second level. That's excellent interior blocking.
Whippler is a redshirt junior, St. Joseph's Regional. Really bright guy, as centers often are. Well, it's the first time we've seen him flushed. Lets it go, and on the comebacker, He gets it into the hands of Hayden, and we got a marker down.
Yeah, he released into the teeth of that front for the Rockets. Again, Nick Rossi and company and Bergen.
I think we may have a hold on the Rockets here. That's the preliminary indication. Here's Greg Long.
Holding. Defense, number 2. 10-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Deontay Johnson must be saying, this isn't fair.
Yeah, that's a shame, too, because Deshaun Johnson, the defensive tackle number 1 in 56, Terrence Taylor did a wonderful job of flushing him to his side.
Yeah.
And just wasted their effort.
He had Scott wrapped up, the tight end, 88. Good call. And they'll put the ball down at the 13-yard line. Ohio State has 428 yards in the first half. Third time in the last 5 years.
Block, miss.
Yep. And there goes Hayden to the 11. Gant with the stop, a gain of 2.
Tim, the tight end, Cade Stover, wishing he had that angle back again. There's a concept they call sift, where they'll bring the wire, the tight end, the opposite direction. It almost got his quarterback cursed on that last play. Got to take proper angles.
Well, you see the clock, and they're letting it go. Plenty of time to work with here.
Got him, Arnold.
There's the call. It's called. It's touchdown. It's Fleming.
Sometimes all you have to do is just come off the ball. The bunch formation, you see the communication on the opposite side. Forrest behind it, they're trying to sort this thing out. And because they don't get the communication in, bottom line is he sits down in the middle of that zone. And once again, that's what happens when you see that bunch formation. Deontay Johnson, number 2, the will linebacker, is trying to communicate and sort it out, but they don't get it done in time.
Well, both Smith and Jigba and Fleming have been heard of in tonight's game. Both had sat out a week ago against Arkansas State. And a 40-burger has already been put on the board by the Buckeyes. And Toledo, really, when you think about it, Spencer, has not played that poorly. It's just not a fair fight, their defense versus Ohio State's offense, when they're clicking like this.
Well, C.J. Stroud has just been perfect, efficient, great calls, and then although they gave up some plays, explosives on the defensive side, when it came down to shutting it down, Jim Knowles' defense stepped up in those third and critical scenarios as well, so it gave them more offensive opportunities.
And again, to put in perspective, this team out of the MAC has not had a losing season, okay, under this head coach. Jason Candle won the MAC in 17. His team has not had a losing season. They do have great history in the Mid-America Conference. And you could argue they came in here feeling a lot better about themselves than Tulsa did at this time a year ago.
No question.
And Tulsa was in the game until relatively deep into the second half. This game was 7-all for a moment, but Ohio State has literally scored every time they've had the football, and touchdowns, not field goals.
And if you're into numbers, you're looking at a 90% clip. And for C.J. Stroud, 18 of 20, Tim, for 297, 4 touchdowns. And he's got one receiver who's averaging a touchdown every 2.4 quarters. That's something that's just absolutely unusual. But when you've got 3 of them, you can't defend all of them.
Micah Kelly is the setback. Toledo's got to move fast if they want to do anything. They might just say, hey, we're going to run it out and get to the break. We need our rest here. That's Eichenberg on the stop.
Nice open field tackle by Eichenberg over Kelly. And as the clock winds down.
It looks like Dumont, 74, who moved to the right guard position tonight. When Carter Foudy could not go, they moved Nick Rossi from guard over to tackle, and now he's down on the field. Well, the biggest sporting event on the planet returns to Fox Sports, and for the first time ever, it's taking over the holiday season, the FIFA World Cup, live from Qatar. It starts November 20th on Fox and FS1.
Are you picking U.S., Timmy? Who are you picking?
Well, they're in it this time.
That helps.
We can pick them. So that's a good sign for Rob Stone and the group. We can now call the USA soccer team one of the pure playoff privilege.
There you go. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
You said that with a nice stiff upper lip.
This is Stroud's 15th career start, and this is the 7th time he's
Nice
thrown at least.
recovery.
Yeah. What an impressive first half for him. As you see, Micah Kelly stopped in his tracks.
Jack Sawyer was in that group too. You see 33 got in the back end of that. He was really turned upfield with Sawyer. Then he turned around, the redshirt freshman. That's a heck of a heads-up play for him, young man.
Listen to this. The 7th time that Stroud has thrown at least 4 touchdowns and a half. All right, and this is just his 15th start. 42-14 our score. Now let's get you back to Los Angeles with the ever-ready Sarge, Mike Hill. And a lot of
comes down to the numbers again, and C.J. Stroud, we talked about the depth precision that he had, Tim. It was off the charts. Context here, receivers helped him to be sure. But this has been a running theme. He's only had 15 starts in his career. And you know what? In half of those, he's produced at least 4 touchdowns before the half. This is amazing to look at it. But then Quinn came back, and he showed you that he's got some ability. Daquan Finn did a wonderful job of trying to keep him in it for a little bit. But it was just the overpowering offense of this Ohio State Buckeyes that just really put him down. It's just impressive to watch.
Our Modelo team comparison sponsored by Modelo, brewed for full-time fans with a fighting spirit. And we know you got a fighting spirit if you're still with us here in the second half. The Buckeyes do draw a lot of eyeballs, and we're going to entertain you as best we can with this enormous amount of offensive talent that the Buckeyes bring to the fray. And Toledo, again, they've not played poorly. It's just not been a fair fight necessarily.
Timmy B, the AT&T Second Half Connection. Second Half Connection sponsored by AT&T Business. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. And it was secure to be sure. Great direction, ability to get your quarterback running where the grass is. Natural instincts is what it's about. And when you connect and communicate, it's always good results, man. You tend to score, Timmy. You know about that.
Yes, I do. Voiceover agents, by the way. You can tune in Houston, Texas. The man's doing all kinds of voiceover work from his Sugarland studios. Jimmy Boone is in there, and look at him go on the opening play from scrimmage. That's easily their best run from scrimmage by anyone other than Daquan Finn, stopped by Lathan Ransom.
They're going pace and tempo here, but they're going to need more than just those inside runs, Tim. They're going to need a lot more. That's what they need.
Pressure off the edge, and there's the pick. That's the one thing they were looking for. An interception, and it's taken away by Ronnie Hickman.
Yep. Ronnie was lurking in that free safety position, all 6'1", 207 of them, DePaul Catholic. And Jimmy, he read it like a computer. Squeezed it. The quarterback made the right throw in terms of where he wanted to go, but the speed and athleticism to close those gaps, you see he's giving him the invitation to throw it. Halving on the numbers and then closing. That's what you want from a safety. Range. And that's exactly what Hickman delivers.
9-yard return by Hickman after the interception. He's the first Buckeye in 6 years with 100 tackles in a season. Raekwon McMillan did that back in 15.
Reminds me of Eric Reed, his body, the way he's put together, man. An excellent range to close.
Well, we touched on it during halftime. We were prophetic there.
Play, but a miss.
And here's Hayden. Hayden. The distance? Maybe not. I think he was pushed out at the 3 by Chris McDonald. That's a 45-yard gallop by Dallin Hayden.
And Timmy Deshaun Johnson, the defensive tackle #1. We're just going to be able to see the back end of it. There's a down player down, a down rocket player. He's out of bounds just before he gets past the pylon. But this play would have been negated by a rushing defensive tackle that just missed an opportunity.
Yeah, and there's Hines down on the field. Strong side defensive end. First team All-MAC a year ago. By the way, this is the third team running back, okay? 6 carries, 81 yards now. That's 13.5 yards per carry.
Here's another look. Deshaun Johnson just misses him, #1. He gets ripped through there. Yep. Does a wonderful job of getting through the center there. Luke Wepler but he can't finish, Tim. And because of that, I'm telling you, man, it's a game of inches. You give these backs, I don't care if they're third on the chart, depth chart or not. Any of these guys can take it to the house once you've been softened up on the perimeter with the receiving game.
Was that just an angle, or, oh, by the way, the running back's too fast?
Well, I think it's a combination of you going one direction when a back is going the opposite direction. You beat a guy and replace. In other words, you beat the center, but in the process of replacing, you know what? You just go right past the guy.
Yeah.
So here's an opportunity here. You see they had a starboard game on. That's part of the problem. So when you have a charge, of whether it's left or right, they had the right call on defensively, just missed him.
From the 3, first and goal. Didn't take long, did it?
Another missed tackle.
Not there for Hayden. Yeah, he's a little slow to get up. It's Gant that made the stop along with Desquan Johnson. You know, we haven't really called his name that often. He's been stymied by that tremendous forward wall of Ohio State. Second down and goal coming up. Gant's been in that back end. He's been salvaging 8- and 9-yard gains by making tackles. Second and goal. It's Hayden. Push back at the 1. That says something about Toledo, doesn't it? They're
it really does.
They're playing
Andre
hard.
Fuller.
As Maxon Hook, who's coming up from that safety position to play the run.
Watch Andre Fuller, too, number 20. He comes in there, sticks his nose in there and sheds. Mitch Rossi, too, who's blocking him out, does a wonderful job of coming in and piling on.
Third down and goal. They go I formation. Hayden dotting the yard. They go fullback, the H-back. And that's Rossi. And it's touchdown. Fooled him with the old fullback that time.
The old dive.
Mitch Rossi, Grand Franklin, Tennessee. The grad student from Franklin, Tennessee, putting it in.
Well, Tom Rathman used to run this back in the olden days with Nebraska, man. A little fullback dive right there, turn, open up.
Reminds me a little bit of Jacob Hester, too, when he was playing fullback at LSU in that team that Les Miles had that played Ohio State in the national title.
Got a lot of humanity up there on the outside, man. A bunch of bodies.
Yeah.
And I thought there for a minute, Tim, that Maxim Hook had a chance, number 25, to kind of stop him, but...
Yeah, by the way, Hester now does radio with Bobby Carpenter.
Does it really?
Yeah, they call themselves
the old giant,
they do
Bobby Carpenter?
Yeah, they do meathead football. No, it's a different, this is the linebacker.
Oh, okay.
Bobby Carpenter. I know which one you're thinking of, Rob Carpenter.
Yeah, Rob Carpenter.
Yeah. From the 41, first down.
Inside zone, nice job reading.
Penny Boone.
Yeah.
You know, he's really run well. He's been the most effective of the running backs tonight because the run has been plugged up. Lathan Ransom again, number 12, in to make the tackle.
Big fella's forced to be patient. Why? Because he's not the fastest guy in the world. You don't overrun holes when you're that big, man. You can wait him. He kind of reminds me of the way he's put together Ron Dane. You know, he's got that big middle part of him, but he's a solid guy. He's strong, and he's smart. And I think the adoption for him in this position has been aided by the fact that you mentioned earlier that his teammate in high school at MLK in Detroit is his quarterback.
Now, familiarity's got to help them. You would think in the MAC, they were preseason number 2 in the MAC West. It's going to help them as time goes on because this kind of back and that kind of league in the Mid-America Conference, he's going to be really hard to stop in the Mid-America Conference this year.
They got something working with their if game, and when I talk about if games, we're talking about the guard play. If the guards are not covered, they are free to pull. And they've got to be smart when they do it because this athleticism will expose you. And just by the very nature of Jim Knowles' defense, if you leave a space that's not to be vacated, you're going to pay for it. But that's a great job of the inside guards doing a wonderful job of escorting their running back.
Boone remains the setback out of the shotgun, gets the delay, and just back to the line of scrimmage this time.
Yeah, Jack Sawyer, you're all over him there at that Jack linebacker position against 6'4", 267. Pickerington North. Redshirt freshman making his presence felt. What a wonderful play there.
By the way, that Hickman interception that set up that last touchdown, it was the first takeaway of the year, as we pointed out, and the Buckeyes' first interception since the Michigan game. It had been quite a while, but sort of finishes off what the goals were for Ohio State coming in on both sides of the ball. Stewart is the setback now, and it's a quarterback. Well, no, it's an RPO, and he goes back shoulder, and it's incomplete for Jamal Turner, the tight end out of Montgomery, Alabama, senior.
Wonderful job of improvisation by Finn to get his shoulder squared back up again to even give that play a chance, because he had immediate pressure in his face.
Did you think he maybe could have run that ball that time?
I think he could have, Tim, but I think ultimately they want to make this offense work for them.
Yeah.
And see if they can somehow affect the defense.
Trying to
build an identity.
Yeah. They want to be able to run the football in this offense, no question. And when we say that, run the ball with someone besides the quarterback. And a timeout taken by the Buckeyes. Passing down.
Oh, he got the wheel route.
Yeah,
oh, my God, he missed it.
He is so fast. Now he looks for some help deep.
Wow.
And it is caught.
Wow.
And it is touchdown, Jawan Newton. That is right out of Johnny football. That is Johnny Manziel 2.0. Absolutely Manziel 2.0.
If he'd have delivered that from about the 20-yard line or 15 in, it would have definitely looked like a carbon copy of Johnny Manziel. But I get it. The improvisation, the ability to spin out of it. He had a couple of guys wide open. The wheel right was open. And he just doesn't even have time to plant his foot. And you know why? Because 35, Tommy Eichenberg was in his face. But, man, Newton goes up and makes a play on it. That's outstanding. 40 yards.
His second touchdown pass tonight. The other one went 50.
Wow.
Plucky for the extra point. Newton, the sophomore from St. Pete. He averages 20 yards per catch, so he is the deep threat. And that was a special play by a really talented quarterback. And, you know, Jean-Baptiste, all right, number 8, is really fast. And he missed him. He could not catch up to him.
Eichenberg was right in his face, too. But, again, Finn didn't even have a chance to set himself properly. He threw it up, and that comes with trust, right?
Yeah.
Understanding in practice what your guys are capable of doing. Newton tried to didn't have to high point it. He just caught it in his basket, man. Wonderful job of knowing where you are. I don't know how he got his feet planted. I just don't know how he did it.
And he's blowing kisses to the Rockets fans in that end zone after his second touchdown pass. Well, a lot of fight in these guys, and it's 49-21 now. And again, as good as Jim Knowles' defense is, and as confident as this program at Ohio State is to have it, they are going to give up from time to time big plays. And that was, as Frank Broyles used to say, just an outstanding individual effort on the part of a great quarterback.
We shouldn't be surprised, though, Tim.
No, not at all. Abuka takes the fair catch. Well, tomorrow, Tom Brady and the Bucs head to New Orleans. It's an NFC South showdown. The Saints have had the Bucs number in recent years until they played them in a recent NFC playoff game, you might recall. And you can check other regional action as well. Check local listings for the game in your area only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
And I mentioned, Tim, you shouldn't be surprised. You know, the MAC was led by this very same Rocket team and the same quarterback, 33 points per game. And, again, trying to find a way to get this thing turned around is one way to do it, is let your quarterback turn loose.
Yeah, you see there in the middle, Kevin Wilson, former head coach at Indiana, spent all those years at Oklahoma. I asked him, Spencer, and you know him very well from his days at Oklahoma. I said, you know, is there anyone you can compare this team to with regard to how many options you've got offensively? And he mentioned right away the 08 Oklahoma team. Little curl pattern that's caught by Abuka. Stops shy of the 30, a gain of 6.
And I understand that there was some initial hesitation for him to compare because he's been around so many prolific receivers and groups down through the years. But he's been among the best of them.
And it's a little bubble screen thrown out to Abuka that's incomplete. I think it says so much about Ryan Day to have a guy like Wilson on his staff. And it also says quite a bit about Kevin because he's running Ryan's offense and knows that he has to work within those boundaries. As you see McDonald down on the field, and they'll have to check on him. And Ryan's not happy that his fanny's on the seat either. But it does look like a legitimate injury.
Yep. Well, I think he's probably frustrated more so because the Buckeyes aren't as crisp as they were in the first half. Remember the theme that he talked about is being complete and finishing through. I mean, there's ebb and flow in the course of a game, but here's an opponent that you've got down big. You need to be able to finish and close them out. It's a mark of a mature team. We've celebrated them here in this first half, Tim, but you got to close.
And the point I was making about Kevin Wilson is that it's the mark of a mature head coach to hire someone with the acumen of a guy like Wilson, a grizzled veteran, and also on Kevin's part to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to run your offense, but I've got some pearls of wisdom to throw your way, too.
No question, and we talked about they defer to Kevin Wilson on some running things, and then they may ask him, which he did for the first time, is there somebody you think we can go after a little bit? I mean, that kind of transfer back and forth. No intimidation factor involved is absolutely crucial to have continuity on an offense.
By the way, I want to really thank Jerry Imiag. Jerry, the
Wonderful
sports
job.
information director, is one of the all-time greats in his profession, following suit with a number of others in the past here at Ohio State. But they rolled out the scarlet carpet for us yesterday. 3rd down and 3 for the Buckeyes.
Well, 5 wide, Tim. They're going to go vertical on this. Let's see what happens. Can the Rockets respond? Oh, see, this is the mind game right here. Ohio State needs to buckle down and execute their offense. It's not going to be a game of 2 halves here. That's where that frustration from Day is coming from.
Offense number 53, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, they got the center, Whippler.
And if you look at Igbuka, number 2 up top, he goes off of the movement as well. He's the one that actually moved. The center was just turning around. I think they got that wrong. Irrespective of it, it's another penalty. That's a mind issue there. That's a focus or lack thereof.
3rd down and 8.
Nice.
This one is caught. Coming back to Buka. And another 1st down. And yet again, a 3rd down opportunity to get off the field. And Toledo can't come up with it. That's a 27-yard gain.
And I love that idea of coming back to the guy who I believe the official miss was responsible for the penalty on the last play. Again, Stroud does a wonderful job, got great protection inside, and that late release by his back, but that ball is a dart, delivered in zone. Off to the races again.
Late substitution, but Toledo made it. Hayden is stopped by Desjuan Johnson. Ohio State trying to pick up the pace and the tempo here. They're perfect on 3rd down. They are 6 for 6. Gain of 4, 2nd down and 6 yards to go.
They love soft coverage, the out route, the opposite side of the field. Absolutely love it out of this formation.
That ball is tipped away. Could have been picked. Intended. Was knocked away by Deontay Johnson.
Well, he dropped back from that wheel position, man. He was shallow underneath, and I don't think Stroud ever saw it. He peeled back out of his coverage, and then as a result of that, he had some pressure on him, but a good job of protecting him. You got 3 defenders there. Yeah, underneath, you got Dallas Gant was there at a Mike position, and well, that ball almost got picked.
Stover was the intended receiver. Another opportunity here for Toledo defensively. 3rd down and 6. Buckeyes have had a lot of 3rd and shorts. They haven't had too many 3rd and 6 or longer tonight. It's Hayden, and they stop him. So you got to figure they're going for it on 4th down with a call like that, right? They get it up to the 40-yard line of Toledo.
I think we got to give kudos to Vince Cares, man. He's done an excellent job this second half. The defensive coordinator for Toledo, getting his guys in position, and more importantly, coming and being in position with a bad attitude to make a negative play.
A little practice for Jesse Murko, who's been an outstanding punter. We haven't called his name tonight because they haven't punted as yet, but he's been dynamite and getting the ball into the coffin corner. And those little wedge shots on the end. Of course, he was also part of that Kent State group. Worked with Don James as well as Nick Saban before going over to Toledo. A lot of history at a lot of MAC schools in college football. And we've got a marker down. I think we got procedure.
Yeah.
False start. Offense number 1. Half the distance to go. 1st down.
That's Jawan Newton who caught the touchdown pass. Jason Candle's team is hanging as tough as they possibly can. A graduate of Mount Union, that Division III power, took over after Matt Campbell left for Iowa State. This is Penny Boone territory, right? You get to him as often as you possibly can and hope for the best. Stopped by Jack Sawyer.
Well, Boone's the best equipped to give you some breathing room down here. And although when you've got an elusive quarterback like Quinn, I don't know. I wouldn't be afraid to call his number down here.
I'll give you another one, Spencer. He reminds me of a little bit. Otis Armstrong.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Size, high-stepping sometimes. Number 33. In trouble. Lets it fly. It is caught.
Amazing.
And that will be just shy of the necessary yardage to Devin Maddox. And again, give a lot of credit keeping that play alive to DeQuan Finn. Looks like we've got a timeout taken.
You talk about strategic pressure here from the inside and on the outside, Tim. Both the edge rusher and the interior rusher put pressure on him, but he got rid of that ball in time and delivered it just enough on it.
Wait a minute. They're going to say there was a timeout called, so no play.
Wow.
And they didn't turn on their microphone. I wish they would. They're going to say that was not a play. That a timeout was taken, and it was taken by Ohio State prior to the play. So that saves them a 9-yard gain and some room to work with. Even if they could not get the first down, they at least would not be punting from deep in their own end zone. So it'll remain second down and 10, and they get a mulligan or a do-over. I'm not sure. Timeout was called by Ohio State.
I'm not sure what didn't look appetizing to that blitz package. I thought that they were in the right package. They got good pressure, 2 guys unblocked. That's just a good quarterback doing what he's done since he's been a Rocket, making plays.
All right, so wave off that catch. Jerwan Newton.
They got to do something about the numbers here. They're outnumbered top.
From the 1, pressure off the edge. Pass is incomplete. Thrown in the vicinity of Newton, who was blanketed by J.K. Johnson, number 4. 3rd and 10.
Trying to get rid of this one. Boone's in the backfield providing protection right there. Trying to get it away from the short side of the field. The pressure pushed him up in the pocket, Tim. Was able to elude just a little bit, but not set his feet and deliver a strike. Zach Harrison was there providing some pressure at that Jack linebacker position, number 9.
Well, those bullish Buckeye fans in the end zone they're letting Finn know about it. They want a safety. And now
the 4-man rush, they got the numbers.
Throw it on a screen, look to Boone, and it is diagnosed beautifully. Only a gain of 2 on the play. How quick are those linebackers? And the nose tackle, Talik Williams, the sophomore from Manassas, Virginia, made a hell of a play.
Unity Reed, brother. He's coming big time. He's a load, man. You know when those guys get airborne, Tim, they get what I call dead weight, and they love to just mount you and just fall right on top of you, man. He was in his hip pocket. Did a wonderful job of running and chasing. That's what you do. Run and chase and finish.
A well-timed timeout by Ohio State, as it turned out. Booted away by Batsky. Another marker down with Abuka waiting. And he'll let it bound inside the midfield stripe and down at the 46, where Ohio State will take over. But we'll check the flag. 51-yard boot.
Oh, back him up even further.
Sideline interference warning. Ohio State bench. There's no yardage associated. First down, Toledo.
That was a warning.
Get the get-back coach. Get the get-back coach right now. That's got to be taken care of. Look at Stroud's performance tonight. And I know his head coach is thinking about what's ahead, the future, but this is the recent history, and it has been dynamite.
Well, he's had a 90% completion rate right at the half, Tim. That was just astounding. Over 400 yards, and we made the point of the fact in his 15 starts, 7 times this guy has thrown for over 400 yards or 4 touchdowns in the first half of those affairs. He's just a prolific passer. Is getting better with time, too.
Yep.
And it's early.
Well, they moved the ball from the Ohio State 46 to the Toledo 39 because it hit a Toledo player. Well, they didn't tell us that, but that is what happened. So that boot that we thought measured 51 did not.
Oh, the deep over.
Right
Nice.
there. And Buka has it again.
Wow. It's so fun to watch these plays develop, man, because you know the matchups are so keen, and that's what Ryan Day specializes at. When you get a guy that's running a post route or deep over against a safety that's 5, 6, 7 yards, man, that's like stealing. You got a little twin switch there underneath to create basically a scrape or a screen, if you will, for lack of a better word.
First and goal after the 29-yard gain.
Here comes the blitz.
Hayden will take it. And he's corralled at the 7. That's Kevon Butler, number 52, leading the way. Kentucky transfer. Speaking of teams that know their identity, that Kentucky team certainly does. Mark Stoops has done
What
a
a
heck of
wonderful
job.
coaching job he's done there, man. They're for real. I had some choice comments about the suggestion that they're a hoops program, right? Remember
Yes.
that?
He stood his ground, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Hayden remains the lone setback on 2nd and goal. Play fake. Let's see, which great receiver do I want to throw it to? Stroud with all kinds of time. And now throws it away. Good defensive coverage that time by the back end of the Rockets defense.
And he had Kevon Butler, number 52, chasing him, man. He was trying to avoid him, but guys trying to get open on the back end. I want you to watch 52 again. Does a nice job of creating that pressure. But he's open in the back of the end zone. But then wonderful job of moving lateral. Once you run out of real estate, you have to go sideways and allow your quarterback to use the real estate and find an opportunity. Stay open, stay alive. Don't go vertical. You'll be out of bounds. Just great defense.
There was just nowhere to go, and you're right. Kevon Butler on 2 separate occasions now has stepped up. 3rd and goal.
They're going to need some help blocking on this right side over here, Tim. Particularly against this reduction.
Stroud over the middle of Buka, touchdown. As our old friend Archie Manning used to say, like stealing, guys. Like stealing when you got the receivers that these guys have.
Yeah, and Paris Johnson, number 77, man, the left tackle. Such great communication, as has been the case all night on that left side.
In the second quarter. Micah Kelly is in the backfield. When he gets it beyond the 30, it's a scrum. He gets it up to the 34-yard line, a gain of 9. His best run of the night. Arkansas in some trouble, and I think everyone thought Sam Pittman's team might be moving to become the 3rd best team in the SEC. If not Kentucky, maybe Arkansas.
I really love Arkansas's running backs, but they've got good skill players.
And KJ Jefferson's a heck of a quarterback, too. This really outstanding quarterback, DeQuan Finn, is stopped by Jean-Baptiste.
I mean, this guy's like a jackrabbit. Did you see him make the one guy miss? Man, it's just unbelievable how quick he is, man.
So here we go, 3rd down and 3 after the loss.
All right, let's see what Jim Knowles dials up here. Pressure, I'm sure. Yep, they're close to the line of scrimmage. They're coming.
Begging him to throw. Begging him to throw, and he does.
And he beats coverage.
Deep, and it is just beyond the outstretched arms of Mikhail Barkley. Oh, it looked really good, as though he had enough air underneath that pass.
He almost beat KJ Johnson on that play. He had him. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman that's out there on that corner, man, and that's a no man's territory right there. Everybody's shooting at you at that corner. You got to be stout. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have ultimate confidence.
I'm impressed with the arm of Finn, though, Spence. He's got a really good touch on the ball. Here comes the punt from Batsky. And back deep.
Nice.
Jaden Ballard takes it in at his 16-yard line. Ballard cuts it back up and gets out to the 33. A healthy return of a 50-yard boot, 14 yards. Well, you knew Jake Jolivet, an Ohio guy, was going to do this to us. All right, who am I? Graduated from Ohio State in '69, a degree in marketing and communications. First time on TV, The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson in '74. Met Larry David as a 12-year-old at summer camp, completing 13 out of 18 for 319. Number 3 quarterback in the nation in the class of 21 as a 5-star. So yet another great one waiting in the wings here at Ohio State. Hayden up to the 39. That's Nate Givhan, number 5 with the tackle, senior from Montgomery, Alabama.
As a player down, Tim, they did an excellent job of coming down the line of scrimmage to make that play. He was unblocked.
Yeah, he's favoring that right shoulder as he comes off. So 3rd down and 3 coming up. So we'll close the book on Stroud. 22-27, 22 of 27, 367, 5 touchdowns.
Not bad.
Just 5 TDs. It felt like more, didn't it?
It did. It really did. He had 4 in the first half. That's why.
Yeah.
First charged, team timeout. Toledo, 32nd timeout.
Here are the upcoming games, and this is one of the reasons I picked Ohio State to win it all, Spencer. They have a schedule that's set up for them, okay? The big games this year. They get Wisconsin at home, all right? Michigan State, they travel. This is the right time to go to East Lansing.
Michigan State needs to recover today, though.
I think it's right to play. You get Michigan at home, all right? That's a good sign. The schedule is the way you want it. Next year, all of those toughies that you're having at home this season, you'll be on the road. So I thought the hiring of Knowles, the schedule being what it was, and this offense being the best in the country, would be enough to carry them over the top.
Yeah, no question about it. Again, you said it, and we can't say it enough. Jim Knowles' hiring, to me, was a catalytic move for this institution and the most significant hire in college football last year.
Nice out pattern that is complete. That's Ballard. That pass was one that you say, okay, that's a 5-star throw right there from a 5-star quarterback, Kyle McCord.
Yeah, got great off coverage here on the outside, and he does a wonderful job of delivering that pass exactly where it needed to go. And it doesn't matter who you're defending right there. Simon's on the back end of it, but the play, shoulders delivered, platform is perfect on point. Gives his receiver an opportunity to get extra yards after the catch.
Pickup of 19. Ball is at the 42. 3rd down conversions tonight have been just through the roof, and a great area of improvement as Hayden carries down to the 36. They were 12 of 24 coming in on 3rd down conversions their first 2 games. 8 of 9 tonight.
Yep. Well, on the defensive side of the ball, opponents were converting 42% of the time, and that's way too big of a number on 3rd down for them, and that wasn't given this vaunted offense, which still, despite that, finished number 1 in the nation in key offensive categories.
2nd down and 3. Again, quick out to Ballard. With the change yet again. Ohio State rolling right along with another 1st down. He won 3 state titles at St. Joseph's Prep in New Jersey. His dad, Derek, was a quarterback at Rutgers from 1988 to 92. So very much a football family.
That's a nice little 9-yard pitch and catch right there. Good play.
Dallin Hayden remains the setback.
Good communication going on between the center and the quarterback and the tackle now.
Jacob James is now operating at center. And here's McCord's pass underneath. Got some pressure off the edge that time that affected his throw, and it falls incomplete.
Not sure where he wanted to go with that pass. There was really no one in the area.
2nd down and 10.
You know, those are one of those decisions the coaches, when they talk to you at the film time, they will say, tell me what you saw here. Talk to me. And that's the way they approach this offense and this scheme, and the way they approach the whole nurturing of these quarterbacks these days. You don't intimidate them. You don't embarrass them in front of the whole group. Ryan Day has got a nice head on his shoulders and his finger on the pulse of how to deal with the modern athlete.
Ooh, oh, that's
man,
a close lining at the line of scrimmage. A loss of 2 as Darius Alexander makes the stop.
Well, watch this little 4 technique here. He slams and comes down. He gets blocked. Then he comes off of it as Alexander, and then he's around the neck. He's got that left hand around his neck, man. I'm surprised he got out of there. It just looks so violent because he's 300-plus pounder, man.
It's a big fella.
Yep, he is, and he slings you around. It looks more violent than it perhaps is.
It was a clean play. 611 yards of offense through 3 quarters of play as we prepare for the 4th and final stanza. Rockets at 4th quarter. 3rd down and 12 coming up for Kyle McCord. Dallin Hayden is in the backfield. And McCord will let it fly. And there it is with a marker down and a 1st down for Jaden Ballard. We'll check the flag. Greg Blum is our referee. 13-yard pickup.
Personal foul, roughing the passer.
Yep.
Defense number 85. Half of this goal, automatic. 1st down.
Adrian Oliver, the outside linebacker, was the guy that came in there,
Yep.
Tim.
There it is.
Number 85.
Yep. He's outside backer, junior from Stowe, Ohio.
Just came in a little bit too late.
Yep.
And high.
1st and goal. Hayden's having some night, isn't he? Look at that. Down to the 2. Is another flag down? I believe there is. Yep. We only start the 4th quarter with a few yellow hankies on the playing field.
Illegal substitution. Defense 12 players in the field. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Well, I'm thinking maybe next week when Ohio State plays, they'll have some adjusted goals, like get Travion 100 yards or get Mayan Williams 100 yards, because guess what, Spencer? The 3rd stringer, Dallin Hayden, has gotten 100 yards. He's the first Buckeye to get over 100 yards this season.
Well, that's part of it. Again, not to take anything away from Trayvon, but they need to play a complete game to
stay healthy.
Yep.
Hayden burrows to about the 1.
I was just concerned in the 2nd half early on when they came out with the misfires, Tim, on the opening drive, that they weren't carrying over. That was a theme of Coach Day when he talked to us. He says, look, we've got to play the entire breadth and width of the field and the game. 60 minutes. It's about enthusiasm. It's about passion. Finish.
It doesn't matter who you play.
That's right. Doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter the score. Xavier Johnson, the intended man. That ball falls incomplete. It's 3rd and goal for McCord.
I really like the way he thinks, man. Coach Day has got a sense of the human side of it as well, and why we do and don't do things. And not every coach has that, man. A lot of guys are still old school, and they want to drive you into the ground. That's not how you're going to appeal to most of these kids these days.
There it is. Touchdown, Hayden. That was his drive. That's his 1st career touchdown, but he got to over 100 yards. The Ohio State University. How about this young man this time around? We'll see. Certainly the leader in the clubhouse when the season began. The numbers have not been as gaudy because in large measure the Notre Dame performance. But, there's so many big games in front of him and opportunities to shine.
Well, we're not supposed to carry these things over from year to year, but it's hard for me to ignore what he carried over from last year. The numbers were off the charts.
Well, Pacific Life Game Summary sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. Here are some of the amazing catches that we've seen tonight from Ohio State receivers, and they all got involved. Marvin Harrison Jr., and how about that one from Julian Fleming? Harrison was just on fire in the first half.
All of the design to accentuate the skill set of the players and to minimize the likelihood that they get intercepted or affected in some adverse way. I just love everything about Ryan Day's design, the athleticism, obviously the 5- and 4-star athletes that they recruit to execute those designs. But man, what a wonderful job number 7 does.
Micah Kelly got hammered right there. Huge hit after a 4-yard gain.
They're still getting after you. That's a hallmark of Jim Knowles' defense, man. They continue to flow and chase and run.
Jean Baptiste has been all over the place. He's gotten a lot of help, too. That was a big-time hit. Ransom come in there as well, number 12.
Ransom had a good day against Notre Dame last week.
Kelly, boy, trying to stay upright for as long as he can. He gets a yard out of all of that.
You even got Caden Curry in there playing ball right now. These guys are shedding and replacing at that defensive tackle position.
You know, it may not be long, Spencer, before Ryan Day throws out the we're really rebuilding this year line. With when you think about it, Olave, you know, is gone. Garrett Wilson gone. No problem. McCord just comes into the game. It's amazing. New quarterback in the game now for Toledo. And lets it fly. It's incomplete.
And Tim, Jaden McKenzie, I mean, just came from that defensive tackle spot and just levels the quarterback.
Tucker Gleason, redshirt freshman from Tampa, Florida, transferred from Georgia Tech after the 2020 season and closed the book on DeQuan Finn. He was everything that we anticipated he'd be and then some.
He just needs some help. You know, we talk about the receivers that they had last year were pretty good, but he just hadn't had the complement at the wideout position in particular. And Sabi Penny, his roommate, not much from the running back spot.
Well, from Jason Candle's point of view and Vince Garris as well, the main thing tonight is to get out of here healthy. Because when they get back into Mid-America Conference play, John Steinbrucker, their commissioner, he wants a healthy Toledo team making a move this fall for the Mighty Mac. That's Graves, the wide receiver, number 17, Deion Graves. Picked up 2 there.
Mike Coleman on the stop. Wonderful job of getting out there and defending. Now getting some guys in backup roles, some opportunities to create some depth as if Ohio State needed some.
Graves, a freshman of Chandler, Arizona. That's a school and a city that's produced so much talent at wide receiver as well as a quarterback. Little naked bootleg action, and it is wide open to Ballard. Jaden Ballard down the sideline.
Nice push away.
It is touchdown. 72 yards. First career touchdown for Jaden Ballard.
Ballard had Mike Coleman in his hip pocket, and I loved how he extended his arm and pushed him way at the last minute, man. Beautiful.
You know, your old coach, I'm thinking about Barry Switzer now. He's had a long day of travel back from Lincoln, Nebraska, probably watching this right now.
Yeah, nice job of seeing. Listen, that's fundamental, guys. I know you get it. Tired of me saying it ad nauseum. If he doesn't put the ball in his left hand, he doesn't have the right arm free to stiff arm.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Was that what you
and
thinking?
I'm sure Barry Switzer was thinking the same thing.
That's right, Spencer. Great way to put the ball.
He's probably right now, he'd be saying to you, Spencer, we just hung 70 on him. Just hung a 70 spot, right?
And Brian and his Pilgrim and Pigeon Raider would be up in the second row.
Look at this. This is just a beautiful throw and a wonderful fake by McCord.
Yep. And he left it a little bit short, but again, just the patience to bring it in and see that ball properly. Boom. That's a nice job, man. That's good football right there. Smart heads up play, run and catch. I'll talk about that a little bit in the room.
Massillon, Ohio. Transfer from Washington. Last time that happened was against Maryland in 2019. 70 points. They won it 73-14. Look at that yardage. 700-plus yards once we're done, and 70 points.
We used to do that back in the olden days.
I know you
That was
did.
a long time ago.
Back when they pitched it backwards to score points.
Which is even more impressive. We played the game in the phone booth, man.
November 9th, 2019. Thursday, it's a special baseball night in America on Fox. Aaron Judge looks to continue his record-setting season as he leads the Yankees against the rival Red Sox. Or Acuna Jr. and the Bravos will battle for the NL East as they battle Harper and the Phillies. It all begins at 6:30 Eastern on Fox.
Ever since realignment, man, people have been discounting our Astros. They're not out of it, buddy. They're in this thing, man, thick.
Yeah, absolutely they are. Yankees got into a little bit of a panic mode there, but Judge has helped bring them out of the gloom and doom. Jaquez Stewart. And another one stopped behind the line. We talk so often about Knowles' defense, and Jim Knowles is built on getting tackles for losses early downs. It's all about second and long, third and long, and that's what Knowles has been able to do consistently tonight with this team. They've given up some dynamic, explosive plays for touchdowns, thanks to Finn, but
Jaden McKenzie just showed you exactly how to do that, number 90.
Leeson rolling. And on the curl, he finds an open receiver out to near midfield. And on the receiving end there, Adam Beal, the wide receiver.
Gleason did a wonderful job of kind of flinging that ball across his body, moving one direction, throwing it back the opposite direction to give his receiver, who was streaking, a chance to make that play.
Bill out of Holland, Ohio, with the catch. 24 yards. That's the third longest play of the night for Toledo. The other two for touchdowns, 40 and 50 yards. Stewart picks up a yard. Second down and 9 coming up.
Excellent run fits by the secondary for Ohio State, man. They really replace the big fellas. McKenzie in there, Jaden McKenzie once again in there in the mix.
Second down and 9. Again, second and long, which is exactly what Jim Knowles wants. Stewart. Look at that conversion. The linebacking core, safeties, so many of them converted safeties into linebacker as Kai Stokes makes the stop. And there with the grizzled beard and a little chew is Jim Knowles.
Yep, the black hat, man. There he is talking in his
very
headset.
professorial, you know. He really is.
Yeah.
Out of Cornell, he got his degree there. Moved up the coaching ranks.
Well, he's not afraid to, let you know that when you made a mistake. And that was one thing that Coach Day was quick to point out when we was trying to characterize and use some descriptors to define who he's like and what his personality is. He said, well, he'll get in your hip pocket a little bit if you get out of line.
Third down and 8.
Speaking of getting in your
Beal,
hip pocket.
he got hammered. That's Adam Beal, and he was popped by Styles.
Sonny.
That's big number. That's a big hit from Sonny Styles out of Pinkerton, Ohio.
Watch him come in there and just lay that helmet, man. And, that's a potential. They're going to look at that, Tim. I think they should look at it. You got to keep your head up, man. The crown has been reduced and is more at the top of the apex of the helmet. But, man, he's got to be careful about that.
Saw some old film of Jack Tatum there. And there's the
ball's out.
Yeah, it's out, and it's recovered by the Buckeyes. The backside pressure. Young man out of Hubbard, Ohio.
See what Brown can do for you.
Look at that. 11 drives, 10 touchdowns, 700 yards of total offense after that yard picked up. This kid threw for 8,000 yards, 85 touchdowns in 31 high school games in Utah. I'm thinking maybe that Rose Bowl game got his attention during his recruitment. What do you think? Caffey, a little stretch play that Toledo read beautifully. And the stop was made by Rourke Freeberg, the Arizona transfer out of Scottsdale.
Yeah. redshirt player, man, a senior transfer, as you pointed out, Tim. He's just still playing the game and with great leverage and making sure he's not outflanked. And that'll show up in game time when you start looking at the game in film sessions and trying to figure out how to get better.
Loss of 5. By the way, we were talking about the professorial look of the defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles.
Yes.
Do you know that he sort of made the sports information director, Jerry Emig, he's made him a bit of a rock star, not just on campus, but with Ohio State players.
Did you notice the similarity?
Yeah. Look at this pop out. There goes T.C. Caffey. Wow! It's a touchdown. 51 yards. So much for my emptying the bucket. His first career touchdown. I'm sorry, Jerry. We'll have to wait. Your Buckeyes won't stop scoring. Wow. What a run.
The well is deep here. Inside zone again. They had him dead to rights. You know, he just kept fighting, right? All those big hogs up front doing an excellent job of blocking for him. Jacob James in there as well. Jacob did a wonderful job, the redshirt sophomore, of clearing the path for him. He shouldn't have gotten 2 yards out of that when he bounced it for a score.
Couple of arm tackles. The Rockets, I think, have gotten a little tired, even their backups. But boy, oh boy, this is now Ohio State's second most total yards in history. 744 total yards. The most ever was 776 against Bowling Green in 2016, which happens to be the biggest rival of Brothers star. Lovely school, Catholic school in Memphis. And he's promoting his home by praising Hayden on Twitter. And that'll be a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. Most wins in the FBS since 2015, but without the coveted national championship.
Yeah, but take a look at this here. That big gaping hole right there, right? And no national titles in that spot. I will tell you this. I think this year looks like the most likely year for them to do it. I hope I don't curse anybody, but, man, based on what I'm seeing right now and the schedule, the way it plays out, they're going to be anchored by some pretty good opponents that they'll be favored in. I think they've got a shot at it all.
And let me remind all of our viewers that are still with us, as Willie Shaw is now checked in at running back number 32. He'll tote it. Again, nothing doing, maybe a yard with that second effort. But Urban Meyer's national championship came from the 4-hole. That was a team that had to blow out Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game in 2014.
Remember that.
And without the blowout, they don't get there. That was the year, of course, with the Big 12.
Was that the leapfrog year?
That leapfrog year and the leap bear year. Baylor and TCU were tied.
Wow.
Gary Patterson will never forget that. He hung about 52 on Iowa State that same day, but it didn't matter.
And the thing is, he knew he had to do it just to even have a chance.
That's right. They had no Big 12 title game. They changed that in the aftermath of that. Willie Shaw stopped.
That's right. It became a form of double jeopardy, you know, not to have it.
That's right. Well, we were talking about Jerry Emig and how he looked a little bit like his new defensive coordinator. Spencer, we have a separated at birth. Players for the Buckeyes are coming up to the sports information director here and calling him coach. Now, you tell me.
Oh, my goodness.
Emig to the left and Knowles to the right. What do you think?
I see it.
Yeah.
Brothers.
Well, I think he felt so good that he knows that Knowles was a player. So he feels like, hey, I'm in pretty good shape too, right?
Well, Knowles is known for having a pretty strong handshake.
Yeah, that's right. Tucker Gleason gets out ahead for a sizable gain and a first down.
Jerry looks like he's worked out too now.
Yeah,
he's got some shoulders.
He's got some guns. He does. There's Jerry. He was so kind to us yesterday and helped set us up for dinner at Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse.
What'd you have?
I think I had the Herb Street steak. Yeah, I had Kirk's bone-in ribeye.
So much for your commitment to the network.
We thank Paul, Sidney, and Thomas there at Hyde Park for taking care of us on short notice. On first down, it's Shaw again. I'm thinking maybe Urban's mad that we didn't order his steak. You know, maybe Hope we didn't offend him.
Well, I don't think so.
Hopefully not.
I'm cutting back on the meat anyway.
We've had confrontations with Urban before. We don't need to go there, right? He had a great time today, I know, with Larry the Cable Guy and the Boz, your buddy Wallace Marsh.
Yep.
They all made the trip up from Oklahoma for that historic opportunity to play in Lincoln again.
And they look like they jetted up. I saw a couple of tweets up there.
Yep.
Wallace had the jet working, man.
No doubt about it. Stretch play for Willie Shaw, and he's met. But you know what? This kid's playing hard.
Yeah.
I am impressed by Sonny Styles. The safety, 6'4", 222, Pinkerton, Ohio. He's sending a message that he's ready to play.
Well, absolutely. And again, Jim Knowles is going to preach with that. Like we say back in the neighborhood, man, when you got a guy that's dotting the I out there in his own way in this defensive scheme and playing at a high level, that's what you want. You want disciples in this system, because it's not, you pointed this out early, Tim, you expend a lot of energies when you play defense, and it takes a special player to play this type of defense, and it all begins with what's between the ears.
That's Barkley on what was a 4th down play. So we would expect Ohio State to run it out at this stage. By the way, since 1950, when Ohio State scored 83 against Iowa, this 77-point performance ties Ohio State's most points in a game. 2016, as we mentioned, Bowling Green 77-10, where Urban, by the way, launched his career before going to Utah. He was at Bowling Green.
Oregon State.
And then 2018, Oregon State,
Yep.
77-31.
Okay, that makes sense. I remember that. Just a young tight.
Well, many thanks to the efforts of Brett Bender, who's been in depth chart overdrive tonight. Oh, my God. Oh, big time tonight. There's only so much room, even on my board. But also Scott Alexander coming up with those timely stats and historic numbers that are being made. Last year when we were here, Travion had that incredible game. Most yards by a freshman ever, and was breaking all kinds of records in the second half. Unfortunately for him tonight, he got 19 yards and then got hurt, and we didn't see him again. It's very rare you would say you're not seeing maybe the best athlete on the field, and it's Ohio State we're talking about. That's Caden Saunders out of Northville, Michigan, 5'9", 190-pound sophomore with the carry.
Nice Barras on the stop, coming in there, submarining them, still playing for the Rockets. And the film was going to tell you who plays in these situations, Tim. I've always felt like the guys, you'll find the gems in these late situations like this. Guys still playing with a high motor. Nice.
Once again, Saunders carries to the 40. Don't forget, we've got USC and Fresno State coming up. And the 4th of our quadruple hitter today and tonight.
What does your early returns tell you about USC? Tim?
Well, I think they're overrated at this stage. I mean, I got to see it against Fresno State. I think they're getting way too much love for having played the teams they've played. Fresno State's going to challenge them. If they blow out Fresno State, I'm a believer. Okay? Ian Eagle will have that game with Mark Helfrich. Oh, excuse me. No, did I say Ian? I'm sorry. He sounds just like his dad. Noah Eagle will have the call for us. T.C. Caffey carries it again. And I'm serious when I say Noah looks and sounds just like his father. So a Freudian slip on my part. How cool must it be to be an Alex Faust, right? Or a Noah Eagle? You know, you're in your early 30s, you're working in L.A., you're working on Fox.
Yep.
How cool is that?
I go back to the New York days when there's been a lot of time in New York City.
Yep, no doubt. 4th down and a yard to go. These fans that are still here want more. They're getting really greedy. And I think he made the first down. I think that Devin Brown called his own number and move the chains. He wants to get another snap or two before it's all over. Top 25 games in progress right now. Texas has taken the lead on UTSA.
Well, they needed that.
24-17. It's not over. They're in the third. Texas Tech is trailing NC State 27-14. NC State, in my mind, can win the ACC. Florida is trailing South Florida 28-24 with under 7 left in the fourth.
Well, the last 2 years has been a debacle there.
Kathy gets ahead for about another 4 yards. Well, Spencer, I was impressed. I know for Coach Candle, he's just happy to have an opportunity to get back into MAC play, collect a check, just as Arkansas State did last week. But Ohio State has served notice that you're going to have to play exemplary football if you're going to be able to deal with him in the Big Ten and beyond.